Hey, manufacturing world, welcome to another episode of Shop Matters, sponsored by Okuma America Corporation. I'm your host, Wade Anderson, and once again, we are coming to you live from the IMTS 2022 booth. You can tell this is day 4. I'm getting tongue-tied. So we are excited to have you here in the Okuma booth. This has been a phenomenal IMTS for us, and we are excited to start off day 4 and hosting a podcast with the one and only, the great Craig Cottrell. This is my hero in the industry. Welcome, Craig.
Everybody else said no.
As Craig's fans heckle him in the audience here. So, Craig, welcome. Thank you for joining me here today. I know you are probably one of the busiest guys in the booth. So tell us a little bit about Craig Cottrell, what you do for Morse Group, Inc.
Well, my famous saying is the answer is yes. What's the question? So it's whatever they want me to do on any given day. But primarily it's strategic accounts. So it's our company has small, medium, and large accounts, but it's whether it's a large company, maybe a corporate agreement account, or it's a very important project or something strategically important to our company and to our suppliers. And that's what I'm involved with.
Okay. You bring a ton of experience into the industry, into the field. You've been doing this for a long time. What was your first IMTS? How many years have you been coming to the show?
It was when my second son was born on the 29th of September, and it was 1992.
1992, wow. So
I'm old, yes.
The funny thing is, that's the first year I came to IMTS as well. So
I guess you're old too.
Yeah, we're coming into this at the same time frame. So how have you seen industry change from when you first got into manufacturing to where we are today? How have you seen manufacturing and industry in general change during that time frame?
Well, I think certainly some of the industries have changed, and the products, everything's changed about the products.
Yeah.
I think our biggest challenge lately has been having automation to help make up for the lack of workers or the dedication of workers. But the controls have changed. The tolerances have changed. They're much tighter. We seem to be working with a wide variety of different materials.
Yeah.
I think that the 724 production requirements, I mean, there's so many things that have moved. It's not an 8 to 5 job anymore, and
right.
And it's certainly not 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think I'm also known as the guy who's never taken my vacation, but that's only at home. My wife says that. So, and you know, with all the automation in our lives too, we have the cell phones and the computers, and I know my boss is looking at me all the time, you know, through this and monitoring what we're doing. But seriously, it's a 724 job.
Right. Everything is connected.
That's been the biggest change by
the machine
far.
Tools to the people.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So you touched on an interesting topic. The tolerances have gotten tighter. That's something I think about, the tolerances that we talk about in today. I go back to when I was an AE. We talk about tolerances today in commonplace that would have scared the socks off of me when I was a AE back in the 90s.
I just left a meeting with a customer, and the part is small, and we're talking about how we're going to measure a part in a high production automated method, and the tolerances are 3/10.
Yeah.
3/10 on an automated unattended cell at a high rate 724.
Right.
And the part is 7 thousandths thick when it's done, and we can't mark the part. So when we went through the entire tolerance band, I was like, wow, it's wide open. And he looked at me, no, it's not. What did you? I said, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So we're splitting hairs,
right,
in a high production mode. And I know what's happened in the past. A lot of medical parts require that, but we're seeing it all the time now.
Yeah. And that's the thing about that automation in general. That's the part that makes automation really challenging. Adding a robot to a machine, that's the easy part. Anybody can take a robot, you can interface it to the machine, plug it in, and quote unquote automate a machine. It's having the process in place to automate the entire process and make that reliable. That's the part that really brings out the brain power of people to think through What are the problems? What are the externalities down the road that you got to think through?
And it's got to happen on second shift too, and third shift.
Sure.
The other thing we're seeing now is with those type of tolerances, it's hard to measure them, but the machine has to be stable. Your environment's got to be stable. The machine's got to be thermally perfect.
Right.
And then those parts, they typically have a much higher value too than parts that we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
So it's not okay to run a bunch of scrap or have 80% of the parts be good. You got to have them all good.
That's great. The thermal stability, that's something, working for Okuma, we talk about the Thermo-Friendly concept, the design features of machines. A lot of times people will associate that to our, what we call TAS, the thermoactive stabilizer. That's actually the last piece of the puzzle. I look at, just because it's in my field of vision, that VT1000, one of the things that I think people underestimate or undervalue when you walk up and you look at an Okuma machine, you walk up to that VT1000 and you look inside of it, you see stainless steel. You don't see cast iron. Cast iron is what the motion system is actually mounted to. When you look inside the machine, you see cast iron. You see funneling where all of the cold coolant, all the hot chips and everything gets funneled in and exited out of the machine. So it doesn't touch the motion system. So we're eliminating heat source, which plays into that thermal stability.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that product. The project we worked on deployed 21 of those. And one of the other issues is running unattended, we can't have any chip buildup.
Right.
So we can't have any idle chips sitting in there, and we can't have coolant buildup. And so Okuma solved the problem for that customer. We were awarded one of the largest orders our company's ever gotten as a single purchase order.
Yeah. And those machines are all completely automated, correct?
Yes, both the tool automation and the part automation.
Right. Yeah. And those machines were specifically designed to cut just super nasty material where tool life is thought about in matters of minutes.
Yes, 5-minute cut time, tool's gone.
Yeah, that's incredible. So what are you seeing in industries? What are the hot industries at the moment?
Well, the new industries are things that have always existed, but in a very, very small part of our business. But who'd have thought that space would be so important? The SpaceX and Blue Origin and all the people want to put rockets in the air.
Yeah.
So space is huge. Electric vehicle. Mm-hmm. One of the other vendors at the show told me that there hasn't been a single new internal combustion engine project in 2 or 3 years. It's all about the EV. So EV and everything to do with EV. Okay. With electrifying not only cars, but the last mile delivery vans, and everything's different.
Are you seeing that different in different geographical locations? Are there different pockets where EV is hotter than others, or semiconductor is hotter in different geographical locations?
Maybe not so much semiconductor. Of course, that's another one too. Our government's encouraging the investment in semiconductor and battery plants and things like that. And there's been a huge new set of people that are involved. So it's not Detroit or the I-75 belt where all the car companies have traditionally located. They're all over the place now.
Right.
So it's new companies, new places, new faces, new names.
Yeah.
I never associated Jeff Bezos with space.
Right.
He's got a pretty big company right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, but I think it's all new, and we got to learn how to solve their problems.
Mm-hmm. What do you think in terms of workforce? That's another big buzzword or a big theme, a topic that is commonplace. Everybody that I talk to here, a common thing everybody talks about is workforce challenges, having the right people, being able to have machines where they have operators for them, or even just attracting people into the industry. How are you seeing that? You kind of have a national reach within your organization.
That's a tough topic for me because I was told I have to be nice to everybody now, and so that they don't quit. But it's tough, and I really think we gotta find a better path to the European way of doing it, where we get the kids invested in high school and college through internships, through developing them before they get out into the world and think that manufacturing is dirty or ugly. It's not. Right. I've been in some spectacular plants. The money's good. It's interesting. It's different. But it's a challenge because there's a lot of old people like me that are exiting the industry over soon in, say, the next 5 to 10 years. Where's those replacements?
Sure.
We don't see enough of them.
Yep. I'm starting to see more of these kind of we're starting to see more of these kind of rapid prototype shops that are coming up where everything is digitally integrated, and the cleanliness, it's almost like an operating room environment. It's incredible from the digital experience that the people are working in to the actual manufacturing side of things and the automation. It's a complete different atmosphere than what it was when my father was working in machine shops when I was a kid growing up.
Well, if my father were around, he'd be saying that the youngsters are soft.
Yeah.
they're getting a little too used to bringing their teddy bears to work and their blankies. So
Right.
he would not be happy. But we would have, I think even Okuma has just recently updated your facility and has
It's a great point.
a health club there now, I think, or a workout room and a much nicer dining facility and an outdoor patio. And the intent is to make it a little more comfortable. I don't think we'll ever be Google or some of these fancy offices. I don't know why these workers don't want to go back to those offices. I'd move into my office if I saw some of the pictures I've seen of these, especially out in California.
Right.
So, I mean, it's an unusual way to make people want to go to work or stay at work. I still think you got to challenge the mind.
Sure.
And then
I agree with that.
This job challenges the mind.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Sometimes a little too much.
Yeah. Well, Craig, I really appreciate your time. You're always welcome to, or you're always willing to jump in anytime I call you. As you started off the conversation, you always say the answer is yes. What's the question? And just like this, when I asked if you'd be willing to spend a few minutes with me here, you jumped right in. I really appreciate your time today.
Anytime, Wade. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.